All right, welcome back to the next Smeeple podcast. We have the infamous Jeff. You may recognize him from social media or just fixing your HVAC in New Jersey. So, Jeff, without diving into or me diving into your background, give us a quick summation: who you are, your background, all that jazz.
So I am a licensed HVAC installer out of New Jersey. I'm on social media, on Instagram, mostly a little bit of YouTube, and I just try to inspire everybody to do better work while helping the trade communities.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jeff, we've actually known each other for a good bit of time, right? This is not our first time meeting.
Mhm.
You said one of the most impactful things that I've ever heard where we were just talking with a big group of people. Hey, if you couldn't do what you normally do, what would you want to do? Right. Like, or what would be another thing that you do? You're the only one that says, dude, I love HVAC. That's all I want to be able to do. What drove you to have that mentality? What makes you love? Where does your passion come from?
So honestly, I've tried so many different things. I've tried every sport there was, a bunch of different jobs, and I've never found something that I've been so happy doing.
Hmm.
So I would say it's mostly the fact that I found something I'm good at, and I go to work every day happy. I get to help people every day, and that's something that makes me happy. And yeah, I would say a lot of it is the fact that I'm just happy doing what I do.
Mm-hmm. What do you think really drives that happiness side of it? Clearly, it helps pay the bills. Besides the money side and the job side, right? What is it? The happy side? Do you think it's the ability to do a good job? Is it the ability that you're, or the fact that you're helping people in a time of need? What is it? A culmination of everything? What are your thoughts on that?
I think to drive me to happiness is, like I said, it's that I'm good at it. And when you do something, that you're good at every day, that's something that makes you happy. I get to come home from work and I'm not stressed.
Hmm.
I'm never stressed about going to work. I wake up in the morning, I'm excited. It's a new adventure, it's a new job I get to do. And, the feeling you get, every day helping people. And then when you're done with your job, you get to explain a simple change out to a customer, and they see the joy on your face because of how happy you are with the job you did. And it's just a great job to have, dude. It really is something that just makes me all around excited and happy.
Yeah, what an interesting concept, Jeff, where a lot of people say, the happy ones are the successful ones, the ones, you make it to the top, you make a ton of money or whatnot. But in reality, wonder if people would be more satisfied with their jobs if they were excellent at what they do. Because the reality of the case is, I don't think many people strive for excellence. I think many people just strive to do a job, right? So, what a good message we could put out there for people is that be excellent at what you do, because that's what's really going to drive your satisfaction with what you're doing, right? And obviously can take you to the next place. So, Jeff, can you explain to us the process it was for you to become a licensed HVAC technician?
Yeah, so I kind of got grandfathered in back in the day as far as how to get your license. I know it's a lot different now. I know now
Hmm.
you need a certain amount of schooling and things like that, but I started early enough that I was able to just do a certain amount of work experience and then take a couple tests. And now, I have my license, and in order to keep my license, every couple of years I have to take a continuing education class. And yeah, it's more difficult now than it was, but I was lucky enough, like I said, to get grandfathered in, so I'm just rolling with it now.
Yeah. So, what do you say now? If there's more education involved, what's more valuable, the education side of it or the experience side?
I would say what's more valuable would definitely be the experience, because I know plenty of people who have went to a trade school or have went and got their license, and they go in the field and it's like getting punched in the face because it's all things that they've never seen before, because it's not real experience until you're in the field working.
Hmm.
So I would most definitely say that in the field is where all your training really happens.
Right. Yeah. I think one of the disservices we've done as a nation, I think you're significantly younger than me. I just happen to look good for my age. Right. Is we tell people, I grew up in the go to college era, right? Like you have to go to college. Everyone's going to college. And now we're seeing as a country, I think our eyes are opening up a little bit of like, if everyone goes to college, there's not enough jobs around for college degreed people, right? there's only so many philosophers that you need, or so many, accountants even that you need, or marketing people, right? Which was my degree. I'm not mocking it, right? It's just, guess what? You have 5 million people graduating with marketing degrees, but only 10,000 jobs, right? It probably wasn't a smart play. There's a lot of people. And I know a little bit of my background, but I'll share it. Is I went into the nuke industry, right? So I worked with a suit and tie for 4 years, and then traded that and put a blue t-shirt on and khaki pants and went and worked in a nuke plant in 130-degree heat for years, right? And the interesting part, and the satisfaction that came with working with my hands and actually seeing a job complete was phenomenal. Coming home and knowing that you did a good job. So yeah, I relate to that. What would be your encouragement to those that are, should I go to college, or should I go into the trades, or try to start a business, or, going opposite of the flow right now, whereas the big push is still college? What would you do to encourage someone to say, you don't need to go to college this route? It is okay to go this route.
I mean, in order to, that's a tough one. I'd say the trades, they're great, and you can make a lot of money in the trades, and you can also make a lot of money, going to college. But
Sure.
one thing I've seen, and, I've seen it more than people who went to college and actually went to go on and, pursue what their degree is in. There's a lot of people in the trades that went to college and they spend that money on school, and then they ended up in the trades because, they didn't know what they wanted to do. So, I would say just go right for the trades, man. It's so much fun. It really is. Every trade is fun, and there's a satisfaction you get working every day in any trade.
Mm-hmm.
It's just got to find which one is your favorite and which one works best for you.
Yeah, could you explain to us then what a normal day, if there is a normal day? You said you wake up excited to start work. What is that day? How does it start? How does it end?
Okay, so my normal day for me is, I wake up, I get in the truck, I go to the job. We got an app, so it tells you what job you're going to be at every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I go there, I meet whoever I'm supposed to meet there. We rip the old equipment out, put new equipment in. We do our 8 hours, which is a typical day. It's normally nothing less than 8 hours because we try to always, quality is everything in this trade. So you want to make sure you're doing the best job. So if you're given 8 hours, you're going to take that 8 hours and you're going to do the best you can. Mm-hmm. But there's always jobs that are a little tougher. So, a long day can be anywhere between 10 to, 13 hours. And then after that, you finish the job, you make sure everything's working correctly. You explain the system or whatever you did that day to the customer, and then you head home.
All right. Have you ever been in a spot where, it clearly already now people can tell that you have the passion, right, to do a great job? Have you ever come across realizing you didn't do a good job and you had to go back to tell the customer, I messed this up on accident, right? How do you approach that, or have you had to approach that?
Yeah, I have. I had a pretty big spill one time. I went to vacuum out a boiler for a service, and it ends up that the filter wasn't on the vacuum. So, stuff got all over the house, and, they needed a company to do all types of cleaning and things like that. But, that's the trade. Things are going to happen like that. That stuff is inevitable. It doesn't matter who you are, how good you are, how long you've been in the trade. Mistakes are going to be made, and what really matters is how you fix them and how you correct them.
Yeah, that's interesting. When I was a server for a couple of years, I had a full plate or a tray with water all over. Water's on it, stacked up. And as I started talking, I dipped, and unfortunately, that massive glass of water dipped onto the 2-year-old in front of me at the table. But I will still say the response clearly that I had was horrific, right? Incredible slap to the face. I cannot believe I did that, right? But the parents end up leaving me one of the biggest tips I've ever gotten in my entire life, right? Where if you own something and then you fix it, how do you fix it, et cetera, right? Where I think people are more willing to say, hey, I understand mistakes happen. It's how you come back and just being forthright and honest with it.
Somebody.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, going back to people that are looking to get into the trades, what do you think from hey, here's HVAC here, electricians here, and obviously not between like a rivalry, even if there's a fun rivalry or not. How do you know, is there someone that's like, dude, that's an HVAC, right? Like in my nuke world, I knew when there was an INC technician, instrument control versus an electrician. Can you see someone and say, dude, no, that's an electrician. That's not an HVAC technician, right? How do you tell the difference? Or is there?
As far as, telling the difference, like when you're in the field, it's obvious because you're seeing the work being.
Sure.
But honestly, no, I think one thing I've noticed even just from going out in public, and I wear trade shirts. Some of them say Trade Strong, some of them say HVAC, or they're just a brand that's related to the trade. And there's a lot of people out there that do that. And if I'm in a group setting, I'm going to gravitate towards that person as the same as that person will gravitate towards me. And then you end up making a lot of friendships that way. I mean, but as far as telling the difference, unless you're in the field, you can't tell.
Okay, so would you say that there's a common personality that an HVAC technician has versus an electrician's personality?
Yeah, they're very similar.
Okay, similar.
You could tell a hardworking person most time just by looking at them.
Right,
For me, it's the hands. You can look at somebody's hands and you can tell if they have soft hands, or they use wrenches with those hands every day.
right.
So yeah.
Don't what all right, don't look too close on these hands. Right. So taking a step forward then, or a next step with that, how would someone who says, hey, I want to go into trades, what's a good way for them to identify which trades they probably would enjoy more, gravitate to? Is there a way you can experience all the different ones? Is there a right path to say, hey, here, this gives you an option to try a bunch of different ones?
Yeah. So that's the cool thing about social media now, right? Oh, for me at least, you could, back in the day, I'm not really sure how they did it. They probably just showed up
Okay.
something and applied. Nowadays, you can go on social media and you can find so many people. Like, for instance, if you wanted to do HVAC, you could search HVAC and there you find me. Shoot me a message. I'll be there. You know what I mean? I'll
Right.
tell you about it, things like that. And yeah, social media. I say go on social media. I have had so many people that I know who have joined the trade because of my social media.
Oh wow. What an honor that is, right? To be able to lead someone into a successful career, and it's a good path to be able to take. So, Jeff, can you explain how did you get into social media, right? Cuz when you think social media, you think the lifestyle and the hey, I'm showing a dress and this plate of cookies, right? How did you take HVAC and really own HVAC and bring it into social media?
So I wasn't the first HVAC person on social media, and
Mhm.
I had no idea there was a HVAC community on
Mhm.
Instagram at all. One day I just decided to start an Instagram. We were slow at work, so I said maybe this is back in the day, and I said let me start an Instagram to show my work, so friends or local people who need work, they could find my page and message me there, and I maybe get a job or two. But upon doing that, I found all these other Instagrams of guys who were so good. And for me, before social media, I thought I was the best thing out there. All I knew was the work I've seen in front of me.
Right.
So going on, social media and seeing all these guys that, that just blown me out of the water, it just inspired me to do so much better. So it was that moment where I realized I really needed to step up my game. And in the process of doing that, I've became who I am now, and I just love teaching people and showing people that there's more to do than just get the job done. You can go in there and you can make art with your everyday work, and it's really just a satisfying feeling.
Yeah, to encourage you, and you know that I've always been transparent and forthright, where very few things cause me to stop and actually look a little bit more deep. And social media is a newer concept for me in regards to diving into and so forth. The work, and for everyone that's listening, needs to go see Jeff's HVAC page, where the work that you do truly shows that you're an artist and also an HVAC tech. It is incredible how you have combined the two together to show like it is a thing of beauty, right? It's not just a hey, you're installing a unit and then getting out of there. Like the actual making sure that you're running the lines properly. How do you get that perfect curvature to it? How do you cut clean lines and so forth? So encourage everyone to go look at your work in that way. Where do
Thank
you see? Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you did all the work, right? Obviously, you deserve all the credit that you get. Where do you see yourself? You said that people have been encouraged to get into the field. Have you seen yourself crossing more? Are you stuck in the trades bubble, or do you see your work getting outside of the trades bubble to help encourage, or you see people following you that aren't necessarily in the trades?
So what do you mean?
So, an example, like I followed you because one, I'm a little bit more hands-on, but like, do you see your work going? What's the best way of putting this one? people that aren't involved in the trades? Like, do you have people that are following you that are just normal business guys, or do you see yourself being followed by maybe even stay-at-home moms, right? Is it just trades people that seem to be focused on the trades part of social media, or do you see it spreading wider than just the trades?
No, so it definitely spreads wider than just the trades. For example, I could pull Smeeple into this for this one, right? So I have a guy that's followed me for.
All right. That's funny if a call came in. Yeah.
It's all good.
Yep.
Are you back?
Yep. I can hear you. Let me try to do, because I did a terrible job explaining. I'll ask a question. I'll let you run with it.
Okay.
And Aaron will just use that as a blooper on my reel. No, but hey, so Jeff, you're clearly known in the trades world on social media. Do you see your reach going beyond the trades world?
Yeah, absolutely. I see my reach in social media going way beyond just trades and things like that. I have had people who have followed me, that are just homeowners, just want to ask simple questions. And, actually Smeeple being a big part of that, in the process of communication with these people, some of these homeowners. I had the one guy, he's followed me for years, and he's been doing work on his house in, I think, Florida. And, he made an appointment with me through Smeeple, and it was awesome. I helped him to be more confident in the process that was happening at his home relating HVAC. And he just wanted to make sure everything was done correctly and things like that. And it actually led to a relationship. Like, I talk to this guy pretty frequently now, and he was like, "Hey, do you have anybody in the area that can help execute, what we're talking about?" And it turns out I did. So now I have a personal friend in his area doing the work that me and him went over at his house.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a good feeling. Where I remember when we started the company Smeeple, everyone likes to know a guy, right? And it's in today's world of Google is a huge tool, right? I use it all the time to find stuff, but it seems like everyone is fighting for your attention. And can you really trust what you're getting, right? So being able to say, the second if someone I trust goes, I have the person that you need, there's no need to look elsewhere. So that's just such a valuable thing. That's really cool to hear about that connection. So where do you see yourself, Jeff, in the next 5-10 years in regards to whether it's social media for HVAC, the combination of the two? Where do you see yourself going?
So, where I see myself, I wouldn't say in the next 5 to 10 years, but definitely in the far future. I definitely see myself, as it is now. I try to combine me teaching on social media, but I'd like to end my career as a teacher or some sort of instructor, either helping people, just typical homeowners, or people in the trade that generally want to know more and do better every day.
Yeah. Why do you say there's been something that I've thought about? Why in some trades is there a license required, kind of like HVAC, right? You have to be a licensed HVAC technician, where other trades don't necessarily require you to have a license. Where, in the state of Maryland, I can do plumbing, but I cannot do HVAC work. Is there a reason behind that?
I think that just varies by state. Like, for example, there was a long time I was doing HVAC. I didn't have my HVAC license, but I worked for a company that had their license. So I was able to work under the company's license. And that's pretty typical, I think in all the states. But in order to do your own jobs and things like that, that's when you need your license.
Okay. Yeah. So in regards to just with all of your experience, are there certain things that you love doing in the HVAC world? And are there things that you're like, I don't want to do? Yeah, I'll do it, but this job is more difficult than some of the other jobs, or not as fun?
Yeah, so for sure, there's definitely things I love doing and things that I'm not, the biggest fan of. A few things I do love doing. I love doing pipe work, anything that has to do with copper or gas pipe, or even metal. I love doing metal work. You look up in a restaurant and you see the beautiful ductwork. I love that. I love that a lot, actually, because I'm the guy. When you're in the trades, you're going to go to a restaurant, you're going to look at the ceiling. It doesn't matter who you are in the trades, you're going to do it. You're going to look at other people's work. So whenever I do a job like that, I just know like so many people are going to see this and appreciate it. And it's a great feeling.
That's cool.
But there's also things that I don't like. I hate going under houses a lot.
Yeah,
I'm not the big fan of any sort of critters. So,
right.
I'm usually down there. If I got to crawl in a house, I got some sort of weapon with me ready to. But yeah, hey, that's probably the worst thing for me in this trade is probably under houses. A lot of people would say attics. I think that pertains more towards, the West Coast, just because attics over there are a lot smaller and it's always a lot hotter over there.
Okay.
But here in New Jersey, attics really aren't that bad, and they're mostly pretty roomy. So
Right. Yeah. It's so I laugh, especially because a week ago I had checked out my buddy's house. They had just moved out, the keys on the door, right, to get into the house. And he asked me to go check something. And I dropped the key as I was trying to put it back into the real estate box. And it went through the slat underneath of their porch. And it's like 10:30 at night. So I had to crawl through items, and there's leaves under there. And I'm just thinking, what copperhead or what black widow spider or something is going to get
thank you. That's where those
miserable.
stays.
Right. Absolutely miserable. Have you, in your experience, because you go into attics, you've gone underneath houses and you've gone around bushes. Have you ever had a big surprise, whether it is an animal or a dead body or something crazy that's been like, whoa?
Yeah. So I mean, nothing super crazy, but there was this one time. It's probably 3 years in the trade. I was outside doing the outdoor condenser unit, and I turned around and there's just three turkeys, just full turkeys, not like turkey vultures. I'm talking turkeys with the big wings out, and I was shook. I didn't know what to do. I've never seen a turkey like that. I thought those were at farms and stuff. I didn't know there was
Right.
wild turkeys like that in New Jersey. So honestly, I just stood there for like 20 minutes waiting for those things to walk away.
Right. No, that's funny. I could definitely see that happening. So I guess the next, did you have questions? I'm looking over real quick at Aaron because usually he has questions to ask.
Did you have something?
No. Yep. Oh, it was he'll cut this part out. It was off a little bit.
It was good on my end.
It was good on your end.
Yeah. You were slurring on your end, so it was.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the Wi-Fi.
Hey, so we'll jump back into a couple more questions. Is that okay? Are we okay in time? Awesome. So with HVAC and innovation, right? So everyone's talking about AI in regards to computers and all of that stuff. One, is there a place for AI in HVAC, whether it's design or so forth? Is that ever talked about in your industry? And then two, if it's not AI, do you see any type of innovation occurring now in your industry, or late innovation that's occurred lately that you didn't have 10, 15, 20 years ago?
As far as AI coming into the HVAC industry, it might already be there. That if it is, it's something I'm not completely aware of. But as far as things that have, that are in the trade now that weren't there 10 to 20 years ago, I can name so many things. The trade never stops evolving, and with that, new tools, new products, anything you could think of 10, 20 years ago has definitely been upgraded 5 to 10 times by now.
Okay. So you said you're a big copper person. Should I use a shark bite in my house? Should I not use a shark bite?
Throw it out.
Don't use it. Why is that?
You can use it, but for temporary purposes, I wouldn't recommend really. If you need a quick fix, say there's some sort of leak, you can't, and you get a plumber and they use a shark bite fitting, even they know, it's only going to be temporary. It's just because I can't do the main fix right now. Some people do trust it. Me personally, I do not, just because I've seen horrible things happen with it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I've seen them last for a very long time. But my opinion, if, I see something not work so many times, I'm not really going to give it too much of a chance.
Right. Have you come across a situation where you just didn't have the right tools or the right unit for the job and have to go back to square one?
You mean like
you show up to a job site and it's just, hey, we wanted this unit, and it's like you realize this, whatever we wanted to accomplish can't be possible with the tools that we have, or the equipment that's been purchased, or the unit that they bought, etc.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
There's been plenty of times where I've gone to the job and it was either the wrong equipment, or the sales guy sold something and he may have not seen something that you don't see until the old equipment is out, and then you go to put the new stuff in and you realize it's not really compatible with the house or with the duct design in the house. So that's when, all my experience and, skill comes in. I got to kind of reconfigure everything and then order the right stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's always going to be times where something doesn't work or doesn't want to work.
Right. Is there, in really leading into that then is, do you have much interaction with the consumer side, the homeowner that you're going to, or is that typically more on the sales side?
So, I mean, as far as interaction with the customer or whoever, the homeowner, I see them all day long. I'm in their house. But as far as what they're getting, that's more of the sales side of things.
Okay.
We go to the house and they already know what's going to be put in their house. I just go there and execute it.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I was just wondering more in regards to, a lot of people talk about diversifying yourself, where it's fantastic that, you can be an excellent HVAC technician, but to be a true leader or a true, communicator or whatever you want to say, you should always be looking at more than just one thing. Right. So, we've heard, in another podcast, someone was saying, hey, if you want to be an engineer, still take a public speaking class. Right. So in regards to HVAC, the HVAC world, are there any other skill sets that have really come into play that have been beneficial to you that's not just HVAC related?
Yeah, so that's the thing about HVAC, right? When you do HVAC, you do everything, right? You gotta talk to the homeowner. You gotta be a salesperson. You have to be an electrician. You have to be able to do sheetrock. Sometimes you have to know how to do welding. There's really not a trade that HVAC doesn't do. And even outside of that, like I said, public speaking or sales, that involves public speaking and really knowing what you're talking about. So you have to be very well versed in order to, be successful at your job with HVAC.
Right. Yeah. And going back to your social media, you said you started posting, you saw that there were other people out there. Do you feel like you have learned, what's the best way to put this? I'm going to ask the question again. So we talked about social media earlier, and you talked about how you saw that there were other people in the HVAC world that have joined social media. Have you seen yourself really glean from them, or actual relationships from them, in regards to whether friends or mentors? Like, have you formed your own social media HVAC community?
Yeah. So from social media, I've made plenty of friends, and real life friends. One of the my biggest mentors now is somebody who I've started following. He was actually one of the first HVAC accounts I started following on Instagram, and he really he really showed me that just with his work. He showed me I'm not. I was humbled very quick looking at the work he
Mhm.
did. And I messaged him, we talked, he's taught me so much, and now I actually work with him, and that's all just from me following him on social media.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Where it's very tempting to get into the play of, or the view of social media is just for entertainment. Where, I've been hearing recently, TikTok's a huge place for learning now, where really TikTok is creeping onto Google's, how to find stuff and how to do things, where people are now searching TikTok on how to do things. Um, and I actually don't know this, but are you on TikTok? Are you thinking about being on TikTok with the movement? What are your thoughts on that?
Not so much. I kind of just do Instagram for now and a little bit of YouTube. Instagram is a full-time job as it is. I
Mhm.
got to edit those videos, so I think TikTok maybe in the future, just not right now.
Right. Do you see, just from your experience in social media, all the platforms are significantly different from one another?
Yeah. So even when I transferred, well, not necessarily transferred, when I started on my YouTube after years of, being on Instagram, I saw what a smack in the face that was, because I had no idea what I was doing on YouTube. So it was a whole nother platform I had to learn just to, put some good content up there.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So two more questions, if that's okay. We'll make them, I'm getting the thumbs up that I can. Two questions will make it a little bit more fun. Who designed your logo and how did you pick them?
So my logo, that's a great question. So I had, well, my wife years ago, she had a family portrait done,
Hmm.
and it was done in like cartoon. And I'm sitting there one day and I'm looking, I realizing everybody on social media has these logos and these stickers. And I'm like, oh, I want something, but I want something that, I like. And that was my favorite picture anyone's ever given me was that family portrait. And my wife knew that. So she had that same artist make my logo. And then one day I came home and she's like, "Look what I made for you," and it was that. So really, my wife made the logo,
That's awesome.
and it was a really cool surprise.
That,
And
that that's
it's
cool.
just such a cool thing because I've been driving around and I've literally seen my logo on the back of other HVAC vans before, and it's a really cool thing to see.
That's really cool. It makes it even more special. I know that I had the opportunity of getting a sticker of yours, which is in my garage right now. So it's cool to hear the background on that logo. Last question. How much money is it going to take for me to be able to tattoo Smeeple somewhere on you, since you seem to like tattoos?
A lot.
A lot, right? Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Jeff, you're fantastic in so many different ways. Here's what I want to really express. And you know that I mean this. Your passion is contagious, right? So do an excellent job with whatever you do, whether it is HVAC and something in the trades, whether it's you want to be the best marketing person, whether you want to start a company, whatever it is, have the passion behind what you do and be excellent at it. So you represent that to everyone that's following you, listening, and hopefully the people that see this. So thank you, buddy. You are phenomenal, and I appreciate everything about you.
Thank you, Calvin.
Yep, absolutely.